Hey, you guys, Deb here at WeBuyHouses.com. Welcome to the Cash Offer Masterclass, episode number 33. If you're watching these as they're coming out, happy Friday. If you're catching it some other time, happy whatever day it is for you right now. Guys, I'm going back to the basics in this episode, just kind of finding a house that's a good investor fit. And today we're going to look at one in Dallas, Texas, 823 Timberdale Lane, Dallas. And this house looks like it has some promise. It has a very high ARV on the email from the wholesaler. That, we'll find out, is that really what the house could be worth, or are they very, very optimistic? If they are, it could kill the deal. Kill the deal. Kill the deal. I kind of talk like a Texan sometimes. Sorry about that, guys. So let's jump into this one. And first, I wanted to say I was tempted. I got one this morning, and it was this old place in Hamilton, Texas. And, for 84K, well below ARV. And, it's just Hamilton, historic, early 1900s. Two issues for real estate investors. A, middle of nowhere, problem number one. B, built prior to, say, 1960. Anything prior to, say, 60, 65, you're starting to get into some older homes that may need a lot more renovation. I just didn't want to go down the track on this one. I mean, I am kind of dying to click on this and look at the pictures, but I don't want to take our time. I want to turn our attention to a property that is more in the sweet spot of what a real estate investor would buy. It's in an area where you have lots of comps. I'm going to show you that there are comparable sales just in this zip code that we can consider, when we're thinking about value or whatever, or month supply or that kind of thing. Whereas, a house out in the middle of nowhere, like we saw in the last couple of videos, or that one in Hamilton, Texas, man, those are just not what we're looking for as real estate investors. We're looking for something that's easily comped, turns quickly, priced right, and we can go in there and make money off that thing, get in and get out, that kind of stuff. Once you get out into the middle of nowhere, or once you start dealing with a very, very old home, you're going to end up with, way more renovation than you thought, and way longer time on market than you hoped for. And, we've talked about that. That kills deals, if I say that correctly. All right, so we're going to jump into this one. The wholesaler is Fazio Real Estate Solutions. Man, I've gotten a lot of emails from them this week, and I'm seeing properties, as you've seen. We've looked at a few that are all over the state of Texas, and so these guys are just out there killing it as far as getting deals under contract. If you have any interest in buying residential real estate in Texas and you are a qualified cash buyer, I would refer you there to Jade Vaughn. You can reach her at 214-646-9646. I love these guys because they send me this wonderful content for us to look at together. And this is real. This is a house you could buy right now, today, if you wanted this house. So we're looking at real estate, real opportunities that we can act on. And so thank you so much to Fazio for providing that to us. So as we jump into I say that because I'm buttering them up, because I don't think I'm going to be very nice about this, because this property has a big ARV, and we're going to see, I've already done the Googling, right? I've already kind of looked around, and man, we've got some issues with that 509 ARV. And if your ARV is, off, man, it really, obviously, it affects all your numbers. We've seen that step number one, compute ARV. Step number two, compute the repairs. Step number three, calculate the cash offer. So it all depends on and starts with the ARV, which, remember, guys, is the after repaired value. Sometimes I just toss these terms out. I'm not sure if you've seen the episodes where we talked about this. Go back to episode 20 and watch where we get into the mechanics, the real mechanics of how we calculate after repaired value. It is step one in our process. And they're at 509, 500. What does that mean? They said, man, you buy this house for 269. You put a bunch of money into it, a bunch of time, a bunch of holding costs, and you will be able to sell this thing for 509 and make a sweet, sweet profit. Yes, that's what we are hoping for as real estate investors. So let's see if this deal works out. Well, I go out and I look, if you remember my calculator, I don't want to show you a calculator yet because it kind of reveals the problem, but I go out and I look at Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, HAR, Property Radar, which I don't have up, which is one of my my paid sources for information. So at Zillow, what are we seeing? We're seeing 281, 400 on this estimate. Yikes. That is painful if you're hoping for a 509 ARV. And we'll see once again the peak occurred in that 22 to 23 time frame where the market peaked in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And this house probably would have had an ARV around 360, whereas now it's an ARV more like 280. So pretty big difference, $80,000 difference. Big difference. But I'll show you in a second. I think it was Redfin. Redfin's got it at 351, so not quite so depressing as the Zillow's estimate. Redfin 351, and we scroll down, and was it them? Yeah. They actually showed that the trends in this market are up month over month, and that it is a seller's market, meaning it's not, houses aren't selling under list. They're selling in 46 days on market. It's up a little bit. You can see days on market creeping up. But at a median home sale price of 260. So I think what we're going to find in that zip code is there's some nice stuff going on, and maybe even some tear down rebuilds, which is what happens in cities like Dallas. A lot of times you go buy a cheap house, tear it down, build a mansion. And that starts to happen, and all of a sudden the really, really changes the property values. But when you're the first person doing that, you don't have comps around you that support the value of the mansion, right? So right now, median sale price in the zip code is actually only about $260K. And the other thing they said is sale to list 99%. See what I mean? They're not dropping the prices to sell the houses. They're 99% of them are selling at least at list, and that's good. That shows pretty solid market. But okay, Redfin 351, we're going to capture that. Over in Realtor 373, Realtor's a lot more optimistic than Zillow at 281. Wow, look at Realtor over here at 373. Coming in hot, Realtor. All right, let's see what they got. Well, they got all these different estimates down here. CoreLogic 373, Quantarium 360, 370, 376, around in that zone. HAR, the Houston Association of Realtors site, gives us the 2024 market value per appraisal. We could have seen this by just searching the appraisal district website. HAR pulls it out for us. That's really nice. It's got a market value per appraisal district of 315. I didn't use that number in our averages. You'll see. So basically, if I come, one additional thing I wanted to tell you about this. I went and looked at the real estate in this zip code, which is very interesting. Well, can I move the map? There we go, map. There we go. You see, we're in a South Dallas neighborhood. There we go. South of Dallas along 35E. That is a very good corridor to be on. You can get easily into the city or easily down south, wherever you're going. And if we look at the zip code, we can kind of see that, there's a lot of stuff in the 200s. There's definitely some stuff in the 485s and 450s. But These guys are saying 509. Let's just pick a house. There's not many of them. I don't even see any 500s. Let's pick this 497 and look at that house. Yeah, not that different, but definitely a nice house. So as we look at, I know those pictures aren't that big. I'm not trying to spend a lot of time here, but kind of what I was trying to show you is not a lot of $500,000 properties in the zip code. I even did the for sale versus sold. If I went to sold, I got 188. That's when that number changed since I did the last search, but I had 195 on the last search. But the point is, 4 months supply in the zip code. If you just, I don't know if looking at zip codes is that valuable for calculating month supply, but what I see is that this had enough activity in this zip code because it's in a suburban area, a populated area, one that has turnover, that we actually saw 67 for sale, 195 or 188 sold in the last 12 months. That was about 16 per month. You divide that into the 67 per sale, you got 4 months of supply. That's a pretty good turn. Dallas as a whole is a little bit over 5 months supply. So there's probably some activity going on in this zip code, and it's not bad. If we come over here and look to the side, I want to look at for sales. Yeah, look at 500. You're looking at this beautiful home, which was recently cut 10 grand. And so 500 is a pipe dream. Look at that. 250, 3-bed, 2-bath. It's much smaller home. This is more the size, 334 for that one. So that's kind of the house, what we're looking at. That looks like a pretty decent house, much smaller. 2429 is the one we're looking at. 376, 2,400 square feet. Nice house. Price cut, $4,000. Still not sold. Been on the market for a while. 425, about the same size. Yep. You see some nice house and designer finishes. Woo. Sorry, I'm in the way. I didn't realize my head was right there. I'm just looking at this and not even paying attention to you guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. This is a problem, the 509. We come into the calculator. Let's do what we do now here in the Cash Offer Masterclass. We're going to start by making sure you can see it. So we put in the 281. What's it, 281? Yeah, 281 400 from Zillow. 351 from Redfin. 373 from Realtor. 376 from Property Radar. We're coming in, and that Zillow really pulled down the average, by the way, to 345. And I think, it could be in the current market more in that 350 to 375 range, but Zillow is not playing well with the other kids. And we're seeing this time. If you're watching these videos, we're seeing that Zillow is coming aggressively down on their estimates. Very interesting. The other thing that I noticed in the email is it said 3,065 square feet, which would be a very large house of that type, the 1960s. And up here it said square foot correction. That is the incorrect square foot. What we found in all these listings is the square footage is 2,429. So be careful about that as well. Square feet times 142 equals 345, which is right there at my average, and I'm happy with that. So we're going to go with that. And here we go with our first observation, our first major observation, which is at a 345 ARV, which we think is more realistic. The house in excellent condition, at the 70% discount factor, we could pay $241. What do they want? They want, excuse me, $269,500. We are not close. We are $28,000 apart here, and that we are not going to recover from. Now, part of the issue is obviously if we went along with this sky high ARV of 500 and something, this would easily look like a deal. But at a realistic ARV of 345, and even if we said, let's say it was, let me just kind of play around a little bit. What if we got closer to 375? That went a little too high. Yeah, it's still too high. 376. Yeah, 376 on Property Radar. If we went there and kind of basically taking Zillow out of the mix and not using it and looking, well, really taking our highest estimate at 155 per square foot, the cash offer would be 263 in perfect condition. Again, we're falling short of the 269,500 that they're looking for. Now, if the house could be sold for 376 and it was in perfect condition, the 269 is not too crazy, because it would have cost us several $1,000s in marketing costs to go get this deal under contract. I guarantee you Fazio is currently in the hole $3,000 to $4,000 just in marketing costs to get the deal. And so, the wholesalers got to make their money, obviously. But we've got to come up to 376 to get even close to what they're asking for. And we haven't looked at the pictures. So, again, we're assuming perfect condition at 263. All right, are you ready? Let's go look at the pictures. This is the most exciting part of the show. I should just put jump to the pictures. And I think a lot of you that if you don't care about the numbers, you would just say, show me the house. Show me the house. We want to see it. Hopefully you've got good pictures. Yeah, we've got a lot of pictures. All right. Let us jump in. That picture was taken on a Nintendo Game Boy or a potato. That is a screenshot of a phone that was at 47% battery. I hope it's not all this, and I fear, well, if I go back to the folder, this looks like a different set of photos. Yeah, those are going to be good. So I'm going to go through these real quick. Somebody didn't know how to get the photo off of their phone and onto the computer or sent to the website without taking a picture of their entire phone. We are inside that house. This is one of the how many bathrooms does it have? It's got 3.5 baths, 3 bedrooms, built in 1960 on a 1/3 of an acre lot. Yeah, I'm going to blow through these because I wonder if the others are the same set of pictures. Let me just do that because these pictures are so bad. Let's just start with these and we'll come back. We'll come back to the handheld pictures of the telephone. Okay. So we're looking in here. No popcorn. Built in 1960. They did some other things in the 60s. They did texture with rags and swirly things and all kinds of creative things back in the 60s. And we're just looking, flooring's got to go, so it is cosmetic. That looks like stairs down. Are we upstairs? Is this heaven upstairs? A basement? What? Let's keep an eye out for that. What is that? Okay. And this looks like it was some sort of living area because it has television, but this might be a bedroom because it's got closets. Yeah, maybe this is a bedroom and that was the area where you get ready in the morning and they just stuck a television there. I think so. I think that was a bedroom, my friends. That window is something with it. I don't know. What is it? Something about that window is bothering me. Oh, it's made out of wood. Not a good product for windows. You know, remember when somebody would stand in your way when you were a kid and you'd say, "You make a better door than a window"? I don't know if you ever said that, but come on. That doesn't make a good window, but it tells you a little bit about the property being, pretty much in a depressed state, full of cosmetic. Now we've got some windows too, and full cosmetic doesn't include windows. Usually we're assuming the windows are okay. If the windows are not in a house this size, you're looking at $3,000 to come in and replace windows. We're in a bathroom. We did stuff like this in the 60s. Now, I'm a child of the 60s, so you can't blame me for it. I wasn't actually doing it, but yeah, in the 60s, did some crazy stuff. In the 70s, Harvest Gold, all that stuff, I think even into the 80s. These, what we call linoleum countertops, just a vinyl sheet product that's on the countertops. Yeah, honestly, the sink doesn't look bad, but the countertop looks horrible. This is pretty much a redo, ground up bathroom. I kind of dig the blue toilet. I know the blue. If they had a blue toilet, it would be perfect, right? Blue toilet, blue sink. Man, I'd keep that. I'd keep every bit of that. I'd find a way to make that work. I love that blue toilet for some reason. Maybe if we just did everything else, in some complimentary thing and that thing, I don't know. I'm being crazy. You probably don't keep it, but I want it. All right. And there is a staircase. This. See, it doesn't look like a 2-story house. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not exactly sure. We don't have basements usually in Texas. But, man, it looks like we went down into the basement. This looks very basementy. No, there's a door over there. Maybe it's built on a slope and the bottom floor is kind of behind the house and lower instead of a second story on top. I don't see it. But I see these big beams up there that look like they were covered in paper or something. That's maybe I don't know. I don't know what I'm seeing there. But it looks like I'm under the house and these are big, the big beams that run under the main floor. I mean, let's figure this out. We got to figure this out. There is a bunch of junk here. Some stuff needs to be removed. Wood paneling, gotta go, or painted. Flooring, all gotta go. Get a little bit better look at that thing on the top. I think that is paper. It's paper wrapped around these things. Maybe they're preparing for paint. Yeah, maybe they're going to spray that ceiling. They masked everything off, but it doesn't look like a very good masking job. It's just kind of weird. Weird. Got a piano down there. And there's a bathroom. All this stuff's pretty old, right, guys? Kind of 1960. Looking like 1960. That's all got to go. I think that sink literally has a hole in it. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's got to go. All this has to go. This is a pretty big renovation. Other than enjoying looking at beat up houses, this deal is not a deal. There's no way we can make this deal work. This is like, we are on two different planets, as far as this deal. Yeah. Ugh. Is that... Oh, that door's just leaning there. I was thinking this was some sort of laundry hookup, but there's not room for a washer and a dryer, and that's not... that looks like, hot, cold, and drain. Maybe you put but there's a window there. I don't know. This house confuses me. The kitchen's the best looking part. I have a feeling if the photo was not so blurry, we would see a lot more that needs to be done here. But the cabinets are not horrible, and yeah, you could probably save those cabinets. It needs a new countertop, and probably, these are the old 60s appliances. Probably needs a new vent hood. Who knows? Can't really see that. Now I can see the vent hood. See, they've done some spraying on those cabinets. They didn't mask up the vent hood, probably because they're not going to use that vent hood. So, yep. Somebody maybe started doing a little work, but still much to be done. Cabinets probably can be saved. Countertops cannot. I don't see a lot of cracks. The floor looks, like it needs to be redone, but again, it's not like torn up or terrible. Sometimes as you're looking at houses that are in a depressed state, you get to looking at, you start to notice the things that are kind of rough, and then what we need to be doing is balancing that with saying, well, what is it? It's not broken, it's not dilapidated. So there's good. I think the house has good bones. I guess that's what I'm trying to say to summarize that. Big pantry that looks like there's something back there. Not sure. Why is it? What is back there? Man, I'm not. This house kind of confuses me. Like, what is that? Like that big open space? And they've got all that shelving in there. It almost looks like it has a window, but I don't think it does. I don't know. Somebody again started doing something and they just stopped. They got that far down and they just like ran out of paint. It was a Friday and never came back. All right, and there we are in that half painted room. What were they doing in here? I understand doing work, but doing half of work, it's just weird. It's like, finish the job. You were in here spraying, spray, finish. You sprayed onto that part. Yeah. A lot of times we're looking at, somebody that didn't know what they were doing went into these houses and did stuff, and then they lost, they didn't have any money, and then they just need to sell it third of the way done or whatever. Yeah. I do kind of like that. Look at that. That doesn't look bad. This could be, a pretty nice room with good flooring, and that's not bad. Not bad at all. Got a beam on the ceiling. Pretty cool room. Pretty cool room. You guys know we don't like paneling anymore. A lot of the Texas homes that have it, we just have painted it. But in a best case scenario, you get rid of it and you go to a textured wall. But that's a lot of work. A lot of work to do that. I'm digging the fireplace. Look at that. I'm just sitting here by the fireplace. I enjoy it. I enjoy sitting in this room. I'm going to play the piano later. Whoops. So, there's the one of the bigger bathrooms. Man, too bad that's not a double sink. It obviously has the room for it. If I was trying to make this into a $500,000 house, you can bet I'd put a twin sink in there. But that's a lot of additional plumbing work that would have to be done. Continuing the blue theme on the bathrooms, and yep, got to do a lot of work on the texture, paint, tile everywhere. Like, are you really going to keep that blue 60s tile in a house that you hope to sell for $375,000 to $500,000? 500,000, you'd definitely have to tear every bit of this out. This whole house would have to be floor to ceiling, just completely torn out, gutted, and redone to get to any price point close to $500,000 in that area. Yeah, I mean, this honestly, we got in there. It needs way more work than I was expecting at that price point. So much work to be done. Cabinets don't even close. There's no latches, nothing to keep them closed. There's no door handles. There's not a countertop. That's just a piece of wood right there. It's not a countertop. So getting into that bathroom and asking the question I like to ask you guys, would you right now step into this into this shower and take a shower? I'm going to say no. No. Now, it's not the worst shower we've seen. It's just this down here, very concerning. Very concerning. There might be something. You might catch something. Now, if somebody came in here and cleaned this thing up, I'd probably take a shower in there. Got a big rain head, shower head. All right, this looks unusual. This makes me think they had to get in under that floor at some point. And of course, they couldn't find tile like that, so they just did that. And was probably a long time ago, I think. That looks bad. Toilets are not. We get toilets for $120, $130 at Lowe's. Swap them out. You got nice, clean looking stuff. You don't mess with these old toilets trying to save those. They got some serious barrage going on around there. Again, somebody has been walking around with spray paint, I think, spraying things like these blinds. I think just sprayed them right in place. That's not how you do it. You take them down, you spray them, you put them back. If you're doing, like what we saw earlier, the walls, you mask along the edge and cover the part you don't want painted with paper or something, plastic, anything. See, I see it down there. Somebody just walked around there just like spray painting stuff. It's weird. Trying to make it look a little better, and I don't think they helped at all. No help at all. I think this is part of a bathroom, and that's a mirror that goes there, and those are the lights on each side. This is like a makeup counter, where you would sit and do your makeup, gentlemen, ladies. All right. We're into another, maybe it's a bedroom because it's got these high windows. Don't love those at all. They provide some light, but you can't really see out. And so it's, the benefit is that you can put furniture along the wall, all the walls. But, yeah, this looks dungeony to me. I don't know about you guys. Floor's obviously not in good shape. Yeah, and I think they just turned us around. I guess this might be like, could this be the master and that be the ensuite for the master? Maybe. A little disoriented in this house. I'm guessing this is one of the 3 bedrooms. See, somebody put some paper down. They went just willy-nilly spraying stuff. Now, if the floor is going to go, it doesn't matter, right? But you wouldn't spray your trim with your old carpet in place. It doesn't make any sense. Get the carpet out, spray the trim. I don't know. This house driving me crazy. Yeah, and you can see here again, whoever was doing this, they came in, they took off the handles, they sprayed this, and the handles are probably in that drawer right there. But if you're not going to do something well, just don't do it. It's not a waste of your time and your money. Oh my gosh, guys. The blue bathrooms are balanced out in the universe by the pink bathroom with the pink sinks. If this bathroom has a pink toilet, I will give a We Buy Houses hat to the first person in the comments that says, all hail the pink toilet. Let's go see. I'm turning around. Got a pink bathtub. We are so close to, oh man, could there be a pink toilet? Could there be a pink toilet in this house? You know, I'm starting to think the fun thing to do with this property would be to just absolutely preserve these pink and blue bathrooms. You know, do everything else really nice, but you walk into the bathroom and it's just like this, you know, shot Pepto-Bismol pink bathroom and bathtub. All right, let's get the answer. The toilet. Is it pink? No. Wait. I think it is pink. It is pink. They had to replace the lid, and you can't get a pink lid, right? And then probably broke that top at some point. Had to get one at Lowe's. No pink. That's half pink. All right. Say something in the comments about the pink toilet. And the first person to do that, I'll send you a webuyhouses.com cap. So you can follow along wearing the hat the pros wear when they look at pink toilets. Man, oh man, oh man. I would paint this top pink. This is, I've never seen this. Honestly, between the pink sinks, I've never seen that. I've definitely seen colored tubs, and I'd seen a blue tub before. I hadn't seen a pink tub, and I've never seen a completely pink bathroom. And this makes it all, the whole video, this makes it worth it to me. I don't know. I'm a weird person when it comes to stuff like this, but I am delighted by the pink. The house, not so much. The deal, definitely not. Okay, let's get on out of here. We spent a lot of time. There's a very narrow closet. Very narrow. You can put some stuff way down at the end, but if you put anything else in the closet, you can't get to the stuff way down there at the end. Okay. All right. We are now in another room. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think it's one of the main living areas. Yep, one of the main living areas. See, they were doing some work. They stacked stuff and covered it with plastic so somebody could walk around spraying maybe pink. I don't know. Trying to preserve, because that room looks kind of pink to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just the lighting, but that room looks a little pink. All the windows. Now, this could be an okay window, and they've done this to prevent, you know, people from looking in, seeing things in the house, breaking into the house, that kind of thing while it's vacant. But I have to assume this thing needs windows. Got a nice little deck there. Hopefully it's in decent condition. It kind of blocks the back porch in a weird way. That railing on that side, but yeah. All right. Looks like a carport, right? It said it had a garage. Okay, out in the backyard, all our appliances are out here. I see that. Let's see. Can I see anything on that roof? I do see that this almost looks different. That little square right there, if you can see where my cursor is. And a little bit on this side. Chimneys are problems for, you know, like when a roof gets old. A lot of times we'll be doing a house. The roof isn't that bad, but it's developed some leaks around the chimney because it's just hard to seal the roof up against the brick chimney. So sometimes you have problems there. They said on the Big Five, no known issues. So they're saying they think the roof could be okay. Yeah, it's just hard to tell. Oh, there's the two-story part. Yeah, the two-story part was on the back. That wasn't basement. That was that room on the back. So that's why there were stairs. I was trying to figure that out because I was looking at the house. It didn't look like a two-story house. Better view of that. That's a cool addition of space. Yep. Nobody's been here for a while. It needs a lot of TLC just from, being vacant and having all its guts out here. And many water heaters just in case that one doesn't work. They can move to that one. That one didn't work. To move to that one. Who knows what's in the house. Makes me wonder if it's somebody that works on houses. This house was owned by an investor that was putting some of their other stuff here. I don't know. Even the cars here don't look like they are moving. They don't look like they are moving. There's a whole bunch of cleanup to be done here, my friends. Whole bunch. A couple of G's just in cleanup and carrying away all that stuff. It costs a lot to have junk removed. Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK and you're going to find out it's going to be thousands of dollars to have them come help you take all this stuff off this property. You got a little building back there. Yep. Yeah, that carport is just filled with junk. I'm calling that a carport. I'm not seeing a garage, right? They said, whoops. They didn't mention a garage. So I think it's a carport. All right, we get to look at the bricks, and I don't hate that. I think that's pretty cool. And I don't see any cracks in it. The eaves and soffits look pretty decent. It's going to need some exterior paint. You guys see that? Look at that up in there. Yeah, but this is just, it's not decay. The edge of the roof looks decent. Somebody sprayed that. Probably the same guy. He's just walking around spraying stuff white. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, none of that looks bad. And here's an outside condenser unit. It's got a lot of junk on and around it. Don't know if it's working, but they said no known issues. So we're going to just assume right now that it's okay. Yeah, again, looks like it's got a decent foundation. Don't see any cracks. There's the outside of those windows. They're not necessarily broken. They covered them probably to keep, people from looking in the house and trying to steal stuff. I am concerned about windows in the house, though. I do think, like we saw one that was made of wood. That is definitely going to have to be replaced. Doesn't look bad. Yeah, doesn't look bad. The windows are questionable, but yeah, it doesn't look horrible. This is the entrance to the home. Not sure what is going on. Oh, he just split this up, I guess, into different things he could turn on and off, maybe for a sprinkler system or something. I don't know. Yep. Looking at the front of the house, got that bay window thing right there. That's pretty cool. It looks like it has like a cover that's, I don't know, it's just weird. I wouldn't cover it. I'd have it open to the outside, but we are in South Dallas, and this, area probably has a little bit higher crime rate than North Dallas. So there, you might be seeing some considerations around. I do like that up there. Look at that. That looks pretty healthy up there. It's painted. Somebody's cared about it over the years. Yeah. This house has good bones. I like it. I like the house. I was confused by like some of the rooms, like what were they? But I do see. Let me get my head out of the way. Right. No, it'd be there. It'd be right there. See that crackage? I think that might be a little bit of a crack because it's lost some of the mortar, but Doesn't look bad. It's not like that cracked like an egg house that we saw a few episodes ago. Yeah, they may have added that back part on at some point. You know, maybe maybe they added it on, it wasn't permitted, and that's why they say it has 3,000 square feet. That needs a little loving, little TLC. So there's definitely some exterior work to be done. I don't think it's foundation. Now we're inside and we're looking at the mechanicals, hopefully all of them, but we got a water heater here, and that looks good. Yep. It is a gas water heater, and it has a pan beneath it, which means it was installed sometime after we came up with the pan code thing that everybody wants. There's no drain off the pan, but got the pan under it, and that's what you find in most houses, that even if they have the pan, there's no drain, and code says you have a pan under it, and then you drain to the outside of the house, and hardly anybody has that. Yep. Stuff that's not really helpful. That looks kind of like a sideways freezer in that spot. Not sure where we are. Fridge has seen better days. It's a Fisher and Paker. I don't know. Never heard of it. Again, might be able to save the cabinetry. Definitely need to replace the countertops. And doing some work. All right. Now, I think we could be into the redundant pictures, you know. And so I'm not going to go back and look at those top ones, the little bitty ones. Those are of no value to us. There might have been something to see there. Maybe that was... No, that's that room, see, where they did the half paint job there. I think it's all masked off. They're painting it. So those pictures are no good. All right, we're done for this episode, really, because if we were already significantly lower than, well, you know, even if we came up to the 376 ARV, we were still falling short of the 269. And so keeping the 376, this thing needs full cosmetic. It needs full repairs. We didn't see, we're being told the big five are okay. I think what I need to do, because I saw some stuff on the outside, is increase the cosmetic to 1.25 to give me a budget to work on the outside of the house, get it cleaned up, fix up the little problem areas. I'm also concerned that the house may need windows, but if I've got a pretty good room. You know, anytime, guys, to be honest, a house like this, it's over 2,000 square feet. I need at least 45 grand, at least, on a 2,000 plus square foot house to do this kind of thing. And so if I'm still a little confused about their square footage, and if that second story was an add-on that wasn't included or something, but we can't include it, and we can't get to the 500K ARV. And once we start adding on our repairs, and I could sit here and go back and forth about, oh, does it need this or that? It doesn't really matter, because once you need 45 grand, you're at 218, and they are at 269. So we are very, very far apart. So that will be it for this week. I did like the house. Honestly, you know, this one might be a good one for a fixer-upper that doesn't need to make their money on the deal, but it's not really going to be a good deal for us. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I didn't have anything else open to show you, but I'll just say go to cashoffermasterclass.com. Click on Get the Calculator. I'll send you the calculator that we use in the videos. And of course, follow us on YouTube. You're already here. If you made it till the very end of this video, you're in the 1% club. So if you are, I'd love it if you'd comment in the comments that, hey, I'm in the 1% club. Those who don't watch the videos all the way through, they won't know what that means. And that's kind of what I think is funny about that. Also, I really think, I want to start doing something for those of you that are actually watching these videos and sticking through to the end and learn as much as you possibly can. I've got some special things planned in the future for you guys. So thanks for spending the time with me today. Again, if you're watching kind of live the day it came out, happy Friday, happy weekend. Got a great set of videos planned for next week. Going to have a good week. We're learning how to buy real estate right, how to buy real estate so that we can make a profit. That's what we're doing here at Cash Offer Masterclass. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.